couple of weeks ago, OpenAI announced that it would begin testing ads within ChatGPT responses for free and Go tier users. The example they showed was a sponsored product recommendation for hot sauce appearing after a query about Mexican dinner party recipes. The ad was clearly labeled and separated from the organic answer. I've been presenting this exact scenario to retail media executives in recent months, explaining how AI-enabled shopping would capture the high-margin on-site advertising revenue that's fueled retail media's explosive growth over the past few years. The announcement from OpenAI validates that the ground is already shifting under retail media's foundation, whether the industry wants to acknowledge it or not. OpenAI capturing sponsored product placements is just the opening move. The real threat extends beyond on-site advertising revenue, and I predict the bigger disruption is still ahead. But this is not a funeral for retail media. The industry has a chance to reinvent itself. Here's what I predict comes next. This episode is based on an article that I wrote for my column at The Drum on January 20 called Why OpenAI's Ad Announcement Should Worry Retail Media Networks. Let's jump in. Not every hyped technology reshapes consumer behavior. The Metaverse flopped. Voice commerce stalled. So why will AI-enabled shopping be different? I've developed a framework for identifying lasting change in retail, and it comes down to 5 conditions that must be all present: pain, technology, frictionlessness, culture, and economics. AI-enabled shopping, while not yet in its final form as a fully agentic shopping assistant, is still rapidly checking off those boxes. Let's start with pain. The current e-commerce experience objectively kind of sucks, even if we've normalized it. Consumers wade through fake reviews, millions of identical products, 12 open browser tabs comparing prices, and opaque pricing that makes trust impossible. A proposed class action lawsuit filed in late 2025 accuses Amazon of fake discounts during Prime Day, alleging inflated list prices to make deals appear better than they actually were. When shoppers can't trust whether a deal is actually a deal, they're primed for an alternative that provides genuine transparency. The technology piece is straightforward. AI can already compare options, explain features, filter choices, and it's starting to build shopping baskets. While fully agentic shopping pathways are very limited right now, we don't need full autonomy for disruption to begin. We just need consumers to trust AI assistants more than they trust traditional search and browse behavior. Frictionlessness matters because shifts stick when they slide seamlessly into daily life. AI assistants sit right in our pockets. No new hardware required, no behavioral learning curve steeper than typing a question. As this capability disappears into operating systems, it becomes invisible infrastructure rather than novelty. According to Salesforce's Holiday Predictions 2025 report, 30% of global consumers already use AI chat assistants while shopping in brick and mortar stores, with that number jumping to over 40% for Gen Z and millennials. Culture is where the real transformation lives. Consumers don't adopt new behaviors because technology exists. They adopt new behaviors because they trust it. And our relationship with AI has evolved rapidly through 3 distinct stages. From the intern that we offloaded tasks to and supervised, to a companion or a bestie who knows our preferences. And the frontier is a coach who guides us towards our private dreams and ambitions. When you trust something with your health goals, your budget constraints, your taste preferences, your aspirations, you trust it with your purchase decisions. And that brings us to economics, the final and most powerful force. When consumer behavior shifts, money follows. And right now, the economic incentives for AI platforms to capture commerce are overwhelming. So those are the 5 forces that shape major retail and behavioral shifts. Now let's talk about how it affects retail media. Retail media today operates on 3 distinct revenue models, each with dramatically different margin profiles. First, we have on-site advertising. These are the sponsored product listings and display banners on retailer websites and apps. They generate profit margins of 70 to 80% in the US market. These are industry estimates, but they reflect the reality that serving ads on surfaces that you already control costs very little while commanding premium pricing from brands desperate to capture high-intent shoppers. OpenAI's sponsored product ads will compete for this revenue specifically. When a shopper asks ChatGPT for dinner party menu ideas instead of searching a grocery retailer's website, the retailer loses the opportunity to serve that sponsored product ad. This isn't capturing new budget pools. It's capturing the same high intent moments that used to generate those 70 to 80% profit margins for retailers. So that's one danger. The other danger is that there's going to be compression of on-site inventory as discovery increasingly happens in AI interfaces. Even well before an AI agent checks out for me and completes a transaction, we are doing more research up front in these LLMs, and we are arriving later at a retailer.com after already conducting our research. I already know exactly what the SKU is that I want to buy. As a result, there are less signals for that retailer to create audiences for advertisers to activate against on site. Retailers know that a marketplace model can dramatically boost product assortment, shopper engagement, and total revenue. But to get the most out of your marketplace, you need an ad tech solution that can really engage sellers. Miracle Ads is powering the future of retail media for leading retailers to activate both 3P sellers and 1P brands. Learn more at miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com. The second leg of the three-legged stool of retail media is offsite retail media. And this is where retailers sell their first-party transaction and behavioral data to help brands target shoppers across third-party publishers like connected TV or social media. And this doesn't generate as high of a profit margin, maybe around 40% in the US, but it is still often a very significant component of retail media revenue for retailers. Now, this whole value proposition rests on data exclusivity. A retailer will say, I know your audience, I know everything about them. You can activate against their behavioral signals using my data set, and it's a very effective way to reach in-market shoppers or brand switchers or different audiences that you reach across different platforms. But what happens if that exclusivity erodes? Now here we're talking about truly agentic shopping where a LLM is actually processing a transaction for you. And this is how it works in instant checkout. Both OpenAI and the retailer will see that purchase signal. The retailer still owns the actual transaction data, the customer identity, but OpenAI now holds something that is also very valuable, which is those cross-retailer comparisons, what consumers compared, what recommendations did they end up converting on. And they also see when a transaction actually went through. So no LLM has announced yet an audience extension or offsite advertising capability, but to me, this is a no-brainer path to monetization for LLMs. They get all the upside of advertising revenue without eroding the user experience inside the app. So I predict we'll see this move from at least one LLM this year. And again, just like the threat to on-site revenue, as more transactions flow, as more upper funnel activity gets done in these AI intermediaries, the retailers get less behavioral and click data upstream, which makes their overall data proposition just a little less valuable. Now, the third leg of the three-legged stool is in-store retail media, and this is the unexpected survivor. Things like shelf displays, digital screens, audio advertising. Right now, it is a very small percentage of the overall retail media revenue in the US, but this is the format that might be the most defensible part of all, precisely because it cannot be intermediated by AI. No LLM can replicate physical presence, sensory context, real-time proximity to products. When everything else becomes abstract, mediated through screens and algorithms, the physical store becomes more valuable, not less. And people still like to go to stores. They love to have that third place, a place to go, a place to be inspired, and the act of shopping in stores will remain something that many consumers genuinely enjoy for specific shopping missions. Now, there are other safe harbors and paths to collaboration that I think could make this next era of retail media the most trusted and collaborative one that we've had so far. I know I sound like a doomer, but I really do think that this is a chance for a reset for the retail media industry and a way to develop new ways of working with brands and across the commerce media ecosystem. It might actually force a healthier model. But here's the thing, the retailers who recognize this shift early have the runway to adapt and build these new ways of working. Those that dismiss it as futuristic speculation will find themselves reacting to market forces rather than shaping them. The technology exists, consumer trust is building, and the economics make sense for AI platforms to capture commerce revenue.